Hello everybody and welcome back to City Skylines. And in today's episode I am building a construction site. So if you watch Skibbit, you've probably seen him use the cranes recently that actually turn around. So I thought, why not do it myself? I've got a lot of modern buildings here, a lot of urban renewal, so I thought, well, if I make a construction site, you know, it shows that they're actually modernizing the city, sorta. So basically what I'm doing over here is, this building, it's almost done. It's got a lot of the glass in, just a bit up on the top that they're still working on. So that's what I'm doing right now. This is actually still a bit on the side that they're working on. I don't know, I just wanted to get some extra stuff in to make it look a little bit more exciting. I really don't know a lot about this kind of stuff. I just looked at a bunch of reference images. I found a time-lapse video of the new World Trade Center, which I used for a lot of inspiration here. So yeah, here I'm just working on the lower area using Beard Monkey's prefab props. Which, by the way, just as I finished building this construction site, Beard Monkey tweeted out that he was going to add new construction props. So I'll probably add those whenever he uploads them, and then I'll just make a quick little showcase, little cinematic maybe, of what I've added in the next video or whenever that happens. So yeah, here you can see I'm placing a bunch of scaffolding, again just a bunch of random stuff, every now and then a couple of stairs or whatever they are. Kind of making sure that the workers can get everywhere, however not enough so that the walls are obstructed. And then over here I am working on the top part of the building. I'm making it down here so that I don't have to move them all up, which is really annoying, and it's hard to see because the camera isn't focused. Like the center point of the camera isn't focused on top of the building, it's focused on the ground level, so rotating the camera is really annoying when you're working on such a high level. Which, by the way, this building is a lot higher than I initially wanted to be. It's like, including the crane that will later be added, it's the tallest building in the city at the moment. Which, I don't know, it's not too bad. I kind of wanted the tallest buildings around the train station, but still this one is near the highway, so it still kind of makes sense. So yeah, here making the scaffolding, and I'm adding this blue fabric. I don't know what it's called, but I don't really know what it's for either, but I think it's to stop objects from falling down, maybe, which could be quite bad from such a height, but I don't know. So yeah, making multiple floors down on the ground and then moving them up. Realizing that it's really hard to put them in place, to move them exactly on top of each other, so I just did it all down on the floor and then moved it up. One thing though, this building, it lights up at night. I really can't do anything about it. It's, you know, it's not really that realistic because they're still working on it, so lights shouldn't be on. Maybe there's just some construction workers inside that need light, I don't know. I can't turn it off because it's just like a residential building or so, and it's just physically impossible not to connect it to the grid. That's quite annoying. And then all the way on the top here, they're still busy adding the floor. So I have like pillars with different heights and stuff. You can see it right here. And I'm adding a crane all the way on top. By the way, I have no clue how they get these cranes up there and how they get them down. I watched a time lapse and I'm just really confused because those cranes move up and then at the end they all of a sudden are gone. I don't know how they're supposed to get those cranes down. Maybe they are some kind of IKEA self-assembly kind of cranes. Probably. Well, it seems like there's such large parts. I don't know how they do that. I can't imagine that they take those cranes apart into every single piece and then move them all down with an elevator. I don't know. And then I'm also adding these construction elevators on the side of the building to get parts up and down, I guess. However, they weren't quite tall enough for the entire building. And there weren't any parts to extend them, so I had to use these crane parts, which were a bit too big. I initially wanted to use the procedure objects mod to scale them down, but it just took way too long to get them all into the correct position. So I just decided to use these props instead, these normal props. And then here again, working on the building on the side. Also they're working on the top floor, just putting a bunch of walls down. And then over here I used these plywood planks, I think it's what they're called, again using the procedure object mod to kind of block this wall off with wood, and then placing more walls down kind of in a random place. I'm not sure, it kind of looks like a maze now. But yeah, some doors every now and then. And this door right here, also blocking it off with wood. Why, I don't know. Maybe there's some dangerous hole back there in the floor that is still working on, who knows. And again, more scaffolding around the sides to kind of detail it up. And then I'm adding another crane back there. Still no moving crane. There will be another crane. But this is like a tall one. And no, I was kind of thinking, did I hang anything on this crane? But I didn't. I wanted to, but wasn't really sure what I wanted to hang on this crane. So I decided not to do that. And then I realized I had these like grit. What are these things called again? Some kind of metal that they pour the cement into. I don't know. And some pile of bricks. I just place a bunch of random props down. And these little bricks that are lying on the floor, apparently they are terrain conforming, so I couldn't move them up. Which is unfortunate, but whatever. And then I decided to add another building next to it, which is less tall. It's just a little one. Kind of like the bottom part of the previous one. This building is still far from done. There's still a lot of stuff to do. It's just a bunch of walls, really. And I decided to add an interesting shape to it. Instead of making it just a big box, which is not really that exciting, so just some higher parts, some lower parts. And by the way, as you probably can tell, I used a lot of props in this build. I think in the end it's like over 1000 props that I used, which is quite bad because I looked and I am awfully close to the prop limit, which is not really that big of a deal. Because what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna delete all the props that I placed in episode, what was it, 2 or 3, in the old Citadel, because I'm really not happy with how it turned out, and well, most buildings are now gone. Well, not most of them, but a lot of them are disappearing. I think it stopped right now, actually, which is quite good, so I'm gonna go back eventually to change things up there. And then I'm also gonna replace a bunch of props with procedure objects. So hopefully that way I can keep going without hitting the prop limit. I'd really like to keep going with the city for as long as I can, and this prop limit hopefully won't be the reason for me to stop. Maybe eventually, if my PC really can't handle it, I will have to stop. But I'd like to keep going until it's fully done, of course. So yeah, this area, I don't really know what I was doing. I was just placing a bunch of floors and little platforms and stuff that they're building over here. We really don't know why, just a bunch of random stuff. So yeah, that's really all I'm doing. There's not a lot to talk about, so I'll be back in a moment when I start detailing it up. So I'll be right back. Okay, so as you probably saw, I was adding some metal beams just to kind of detail it up, to add some contrast between the grey concrete. And so over here I am adding the crane that actually rotates. It's made by Sven Berlin. Check it out, it's on Steam Workshop. It will be in my collection if I don't forget, of course. And then over here I'm doing something interesting. I saw in a couple of reference images that there are some like chutes that I assume is ready to throw all the trash in or whatever stuff they want to get rid of. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to make it of. Initially I wanted to use just a pipe, but most of the chutes I saw were yellow. So instead I used this cement bucket, which is yellow. And then using the Procedure Objects mod, I moved a bunch of the vertices upwards. It was really tricky because it was really hard to pick those vertices. And then it was too smooth, so I placed some other buckets because I looked at the images and it appears to be just a bunch of buckets really lined up with holes in the bottom. And then I guess they throw a bunch of garbage down, so here I'm adding a skip with some stuff in it, I don't know. And then another elevator, more scaffolding, just to detail all this stuff up. And more of the blue fabric, which I still don't know what it's called. So yeah, again, just placing a bunch of random stuff down, so I'll be back again in a minute because there's something I would like to explain what I'm doing. So yeah, again, another awkward break, so be right back. Okay, so over here between the buildings, I am making a little trench using this, I don't actually know what it is. I think it's like a castle ditch, I don't know. But anyways, I'm using it just as a little trench for pipes, and then this crane over here is actually placing down the pipes. And then behind this crane, I'm adding these decals. So I don't know if you know what they are, but basically they are some metal plates, and they place them on top of the dirt so that the heavy vehicles don't sink away, which is something that I've seen quite a lot, at least here in the Netherlands. I don't know, maybe it's just because the soil here is just way too soft. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. Here I'm just placing a bunch of dirt decals over the road because I don't like how the vanilla dirt road looks like. And these dirt decals by Ronix, I think, they look a lot better. And then I'm also adding another trench and a little hole. Why, I don't know. I just placed a pipe in. I just thought it looked cool. Maybe it'll be connected to this building somehow. Maybe there will be a big fountain. I don't know what that was. It was some kind of barge, and the texture kept changing when you rotate it. Maybe some kind of normal problem, I don't know. Placing some coils with wire and some stuff basically to cover this other trench up. I really don't know what I was going for here, just some metal meshes and bars, I don't know. And then I'm also adding an excavator, which is at the moment digging the trench, and a little pile of dirt next to it. So yeah, just covering all the stone up with some gravel, so it doesn't look too ugly. And that's basically really all I wanted to talk about, so I'm gonna leave you with the rest of the time lapse. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, it took me quite a long time, even more than the train station, I think. So leave a like if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you want to see more, and then I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye bye. bye.